Hello. Is it audible?
It will be 5 seconds later.
Okay. So in this week we have discussed about some of the current affairs topic that was in news related to the geography and internal security. So first of all, if you look at the issue, we have to talk about a volcanic eruption that was seen in the case of Popocatépetl volcano located in Mexico, one of the Central American countries. If you look here, so first of all, if you look at the location of this particular volcano, it is located in Mexico. We can see this is the central part of Mexico, and if you try to understand why we have volcano in this area, the answer is simple, because on this side you have the Cocos plate, which is a minor plate, we can say, and this side you have the continental plate, that is North American plate. So as we know that oceanic plate is denser than continental plate, it converges below it, and due to this you have the melting of magma, volcanic eruption. So overall, the same reason why we have volcanoes all across the Andes, because you have convergence between denser oceanic plate and lighter continental plate. Same region you have in North America, same region you have in the Central America. So overall, this Popocatépetl volcano, we can say, is a part of Trans-Mexican volcanic belt, which is located at an elevation of 5,452 meters. We try to understand the age of the structure is more than 20,000 years. That means the entire volcanic structure, including everything that you have there, magma chamber, volcanic vent, if we talk about, pipe structure, we talk about. And this is also important because this is a kind of active volcano. Since 1994, continuously some activity we see taking place around this volcano, whether it is the eruption of lava, whether it is the eruption of ash cloud and everything like that. And in recent times, 2023, the eruption that occurred was so destructive that it led to the collapse of the entire dome. Entire dome means the entire upper part of volcano that you have. That generally happens if volcanic eruption is very intense or explosive in nature. If you look at the nature of volcano, it is a stratovolcano, which is a kind of composite volcano where you have a continuous layer or alternate layer of magma that is solidified. Above that you have dust layers, rock layer, again you have the magma layer, and it is very tall, steep volcano. Frequent ash plumes are seen to be coming out from this particular volcano because of continuous burning of rocks, and due to the pressure of the gases, these are thrown outward in an intense manner. Lava dome is continuously growing because lava seems to be continuously coming out, erupting out, and that solidifies. Dome collapse, there is a risk that geologists have stated that if intense eruption occurs here, the entire dome means this part of volcano we are talking about, this entire upper section can simply collapse as such. Not only that, we also see the flow of pyroclastic fragment from this volcano. Pyroclastic fragment refers to dust particles, ash particles. We have the this rocks that comes out during volcanic eruption, and also we can say it is solidified lava, because when lava is thrown out, many times due to sudden cooling it solidifies and convert into rock like structure. So such kind of fragments that is ejected from volcano is called as pyroclastic fragment. And the problem is that in this particular area of volcano, a lot of people are residing there in the Mexico, in the country of Mexico. So this volcano can have effect on people as well. Now, why it was news recently? Because first 3D subsurface map of this volcano was constructed or created, we can say, by a team of scientists from Mexican University. Cross-sectional imaging was done here, and now we have a much better information, an idea about this volcano, all the way from surface up to depth of 18 kilometers, we can say. Now, if you look here, the method that was used to do the 3D imaging of this volcano is simple: seismic imaging, because you know that whenever you have the movement of magma, it disturbs the rocks of the earth, and this disturbance, the energy that is produced, is then traveling in the form of seismic waves. So by analyzing the seismic wave, you can have a better understanding of the internal structure. That means the density of the rocks that you have there, that is the what you can call as the discontinuities that you might find here and there inside the volcanoes. Ground vibration analysis, again similar tremors analysis was done here. Seismograph instrument that was used to analyze the seismic wave. and over 100 recordings per second was analyzed by the machines, and then by using artificial intelligence, by using computational methodology, then AI based inference model was created, which today has given us better idea about the density and temperature inside the volcano. So this is a very important point. Significance of this is very clear, because if you understand properly the internal structure of volcano, if you understand the positioning of magma chamber, which is a source of lava or magma, you will be able to properly identify what pathways through which magma or lava will come up. Because in this particular case, what we have found, or what scientists have found, that you do not have a single magma chamber, but you have multiple magma chamber that is located at the depth of 18 km, and each of these magma chamber can lead to eruption of volcano in the future, can lead to the upward movement of magma or lava in the volcano. So now by analyzing this information, scientists will have better possibility of forecasting eruption in the future by analyzing the gaseous pressure, by analyzing the amount of ash plume and dust cloud that is coming out. Plus, we can also properly assess that what is the probability of collapse of a dam. Based on these forecasting, then if there's a probability of imminent eruption, we can plan to evacuate people, because again I told you this is area where sufficiently or moderately high population density would you moderate population density you would see here. Hazard donation can be done, plus it has a significant role to play in the field of volcanism, which is called as predictive volcanology. Second topic in news is Wolf supermoon. It is a term used with reference to the position of moon with reference to the earth itself. And on the 2nd January 2026, we witnessed such rare phenomena. So this is very important from GS paper 1 geography perspective, because any changes that occurs in the phase of moon, that occurs in the positioning of moon, can be asked as astronomy or basic astronomy you have to study in geography as such. So question comes that what is Wolf supermoon? So first of all, it was witnessed on 2nd of January. It is a type of full moon. Full moon is the case when you have moon here, earth is here, and sun is here. So the light of sun that is incident on moon is directly reflected toward earth, and the full face of moon is visible in this case. That is what we call as full moon. Now sometime what happens, you have the full moon, and if the full moon is taking place at the perigee location, we know that the orbit of moon around earth is not entirely circular in nature, it is elliptical, and that is why when moon is orbiting around earth, at once a time it reaches its closest position, that is called as perigee, and at one time it is farthest from the earth, that is called as apogee. That means we can say at perigee position moon is at the closest distance, and if the full moon is also taking place at the same time, naturally moon would look much more bigger to you if you are observing it from the earth. So this larger appearance of the moon, that is believed to be about 30% bigger than what you generally perceive, is what we call as a wolf moon as such. And here the visibility is much more brighter, moon seems to be hanging much more closer to you in the sky as such. So that is what we call as wolf moon. Now why term wolf is being used here? It is because it is a traditional name used in indigenous folklore, and it is with reference to Celtic traditions. Basically you can say in United Kingdom, old English folklores you have here. Old Farmer's Almanac, for example, is a book from where we have seen the reference of this name. Reason is because, as I told you, this kind of moon is seen in the month of January. January is winter month in Northern Hemisphere, including United Kingdom, and during winter month, it is seen that howling of wolf was recorded in the village areas, and because this howling of moon was recorded and howling of wolf was recorded, and at the same time you have super moon like structure in the sky. So naturally in the older time people cannot have a scientific understanding behind this phenomena, so they used to link the howling of wolf to the occurrence of this full moon like situation, which was much more larger, and that is why the term wolf moon came into existence. This point we have discussed already, apogee versus perigee distance as such. Now if you look at these positions, first of all perigee, these facts also and these basically concepts also become important from examination point of view. Perigee we can say simply is when moon and earth are at closest distance to each other. Apogee refer to the point where moon and earth are at its farthest distance from each other, and as we know that moon's axis is inclined by about 5.5 to 6 degrees from earth's axis, and overall its orbit is not circular, it is elliptical in nature. That is about the wolf moon. Third topic which we have to refer to is the government decision to withdraw import restrictions on metallurgical coke, which is containing low amount of ash. So let us try to understand this in more detail. Now, what we saw few months back, the Directorate General of Foreign Trade, it has basically imposed restrictions on the import of this low ash metallurgical coke because anti-dumping duty was not being levied by the Ministry of Finance. But recently, Government of India through Ministry of Finance has imposed anti-dumping duty on this coke, and that is why this quantitative import curve that was imposed few months back, this has been revoked as such. Now, first of all, question comes that what do we mean by a term low ash metallurgical coke? So, in every coal you have certain amount of ash content. If ash content is less than 18%, we can call it as low ash. It has very important value from the perspective of steel manufacturing because when you're producing high grade steel, you generally require such a kind of coke as such. And provisional anti-dumping duty, as we have discussed, is already being imposed. Steel sector will be benefited from this because this metallurgical coke is very important ingredient in the production of steel in India as such. Now, if you look at the policy background, import restriction was extended in December 2025 by DGFT. In January to June period, this restriction was in place, but now because anti-dumping duty has been imposed by Finance Ministry, the proposal has now been withdrawn, and now steel sector of India can import as much as metallurgical coke as it wants. Now, if you look at the anti-dumping duty, it is a type of provisional duty, and as per the recent report, it is believed that somewhere between $60 to $130 per ton of such kind of import duty will have to be paid by the importer as such. Now, this is largely to ensure that domestic companies are not basically do not face any kind of discrimination. Domestic companies and their interests are protected, because simple thing is there, if the companies of India began to import more amount of coal from outside, domestic coal mining companies will suffer heavy losses. To soften the blow of this kind of losses, government imposed anti-dumping duty so that importers can import as much as they want, but also the interest of domestic producers can be ensured. So injury to domestic producer, that would be basically softened by this particular stance as such. It is kind of trade remedial measure. Now we know that almost all the countries of world today have agreed to abide by the rules that was proposed by World Trade Organization, which is rule-based trading system, and anti-dumping duty is one of the components, or one of the, we can say, this weapons or tools that is used by many companies largely to protect the domestic, we can say, this producers as such. So it is nothing but a way of ensuring fair competition in the industrial sector. Now coming to metallurgical coke, which is also sometimes called as coking coal. So metallurgical coke is derived from coking coal through the process that is called as destructive distillation. It simply means what you are doing, you are creating an environment of absence of oxygen. So during absence of oxygen, when you are burning the coke, it is called as destructive distillation. Now it is used in the blast furnace as an input, and when coking coal is used in the blast furnace, where you are basically purifying iron, you are extracting iron from the iron ore, this coke is used and serves both purposes. First of all, it is used as a fuel because it can burn, and second, it also acts as a reducing agent. It simply means that in the iron ore you have iron in the form of oxide like Fe2O3. So coke helps in removal of this oxygen, and thus pure iron you can extract, then it can be taken in the melted form, and then it can further be given a certain shape as you want as such. So molten iron is produced, and there the significance of metallurgical coke can be observed here. Advantages, because metallurgical coke has low ash variant, we can say it has high calorific value, impurities are also relatively less here, and thus if you want to produce high grade steel, you have no other option but to depend on this particular variant of coal itself. Now the question is, why are we importing metallurgical coke? Do we not have any metallurgical coke in India? The answer is, as per India's proven reserves, we have about 16.5 billion tons of the coal. Out of that, about 5.13 billion tons of coal is of prime quality. But you can see there is a big difference here. Only 30% of the coal is of such a variety which can be used in production of high grade steel. And that is why steel manufacturing plants of India, companies of India, to a large extent depend upon the import of metallurgical coke, largely from Australia or even sometime in Indonesia. So 85% of our dependency is on import itself, because quality constraint we are facing in India. Most of coals are of bituminous variety or lignite variety as such. Metallurgical coke generally is taken from the anthracite variety of coal itself. So that is the problem. Other problem is that many times due to the dependency on import, we have to bear the burden of external supply vulnerability. We have to bear the shock of external supply vulnerability, and to which steel sector of India is exposed. Now, a very important point you have to keep in mind that as far as the production of steel is concerned, India is the second largest producer of steel in the world today after China. So, very, very important fact you should keep in mind from prelims examination perspective. Then third is some places in news, which was in news in last week. So first is the country called as Colombia, which is a South American country. Why it was news? Because as we have seen in last couple of months, Trump has been continuously issuing warning for those countries from which he seems that drugs are continuously coming in US as such. So they have basically Trump administration have applied pressure on Colombian government to ensure that trafficking of drug stops cross the US border as such. US also has stated that Colombia can be considered as a production hub of one of the most lethal drugs that is being used in US called as cocaine as such. Because of such kind of allegations and the stand of Colombian government where it completely says that it is not responsible for drug trafficking, bilateral ties between both countries have been quite strained, and President Gustavo Petro, who is the president of Colombia, he also has given severe warning to Trump, because Trump said that we will also arrest you, and Gustavo Petro said that I am standing here, come and arrest me. So such kind of controversy remark we are seeing here. If you look at the geography of Colombia from mapping perspective, prelims based perspective, this is important point. So this region you can see the northern part of South America, where you have Caribbean Sea. So opening toward Caribbean Sea coast, you have Colombia. The capital of Colombia is Bogota, and as you know that Venezuela, where you have Nicolas Maduro was the president, he was basically kidnapped by US through the military action. So Colombia, we can see, is a neighboring country of Venezuela itself as such. Colombia is connected to a country called as Panama, as you can see from here. Panama is through which you have Panama Canal, which is one of the most important transship route across the world that connects the Atlantic Ocean with the Pacific Ocean as such. Second, we talk about in Colombia, one of the major feature is the Andes Mountain. Andes Mountain basically begins from Colombia and passes through all the other countries of Western South America. So that's about first country. Second country, which is in news, is Mexico. So we talk about Mexico. Again, why in news? Same reason. Trump has issued warning to Mexico as well. And this is not the recent warning. Trump has been giving warning to Mexico since the time he took charge of the office as 47th president of US. Same allegation he has made against Mexico as well. For Colombia, he said that cocaine is coming from Colombia, and at the same time he said that fentanyl. Now, fentanyl is very, very important because it is believed that in last couple of years, majority of drug-related deaths that US has witnessed, it is due to the consumption on overdose of fentanyl. So, most lethal drug we can say as per current situation. So, it is believed to be the main responsible actor as far as the overdose crisis, drug overdose crisis that we are seeing in United States of America. And because of such kind of allegation, the security ties between both countries also have kind of suffered from that. And very important point we have to understand that Mexico and US shares a very large, long border, they can say. So Trump, apart from alleging that Mexico is the hub for fentanyl trafficking, it also is believed to be the region from which a lot of illegal immigrants are trying to illegally enter into United States of America. So from border governance perspective, border security perspective, illegal immigrant perspective, as well as from the drug perspective, Mexico has been continuously coming on US radar, most specifically President Trump's radar. If we look at the geography of Mexico on the map, so this is the region of Mexico. As you can see, it shares a huge border. This entire border that you see is Mexico. The capital of Mexico is Mexico City, and the first topic we have discussed, that is the volcano that I told you also is located in Mexico as well. Mexico is the region where you will find mountain range, very, very important mountain range you should know about, called as Sierra Madre range. So this is overall we can say this entire Sierra Madre mountain range is basically extended to the western coast of Mexico. Now, if you look here, Gulf of Mexico, it is called as, and if you remember, there was also a kind of controversy here because when Trump took charge of president, he said that the Gulf of Mexico should be renamed as Gulf of America. So that is also one reason why this area keeps coming in news. Third country in news is Cuba. Again, because of the similar region, US has stated that a lot of terror-related activities are being observed from the Cuban territory. Cuba is a group of islands we'll discuss later. Second, again, same claim Trump has made that drug trafficking is being done through the US border by using Cuba as a hub as such. That also has led to overall increase in tensions between US and Cuba, plus a lot of migrants have been coming to US as well from Cuba. If you look at the Cuba, it is a country, overall island country we can say, part of the Caribbean island group located in the Caribbean Sea. The capital of Cuba is Havana. So you can see it has very close border to the Florida of US, and that is why you will see that this route, this overall this sea route we can say, is being used for the trafficking of drug, as Trump has stated, plus also influx of migrants in this particular region. And the fourth region, which is in news again because of Trump administration, is Greenland. So Greenland is considered to be the world's largest island located in the Arctic region, and Greenland ice sheet is believed to be one of the largest ice sheet after Arctic and Antarctic region as such, or in the Arctic region overall. Apart from that, this is also the region where you have Thule Air Base operated by US. Arctic sea lanes are passing through here, sea routes that basically many countries are interested in because of the melting of glaciers here. So there is possibility of a lot of sea routes being developed here in the future due to melting of ice sheets. Missile defense relevance, and also it is believed to be the region rich in rare earth mineral on which US is eyeing. Now if you look at the location, this you have is North America, Canada, US, and this is the Greenland. Now as far as the Greenland is concerned, currently it is administered as a territory of Denmark, which is a country located here in the northwestern Europe as such. So as we know that the reason why Greenland was in news, because Trump is continuously claiming that Greenland should be made part of US, Greenland should be captured by US. He even also has made a controversial remark. He even has stated that if not captured, then we can buy Greenland by providing certain amount of money to the residents of Greenland, which are about 50,000 people living on Greenland today. But obviously Denmark and Greenland both have rejected such demand. They have stated that they want to remain part of Denmark as such. So it is the evolving situation. We have to see how this entire situation develops in the future. Capital of Greenland you can see is Nuuk, N-W-K. Nuuk is capital city there. So that is the other topic in news. Fourth topic is ghost SIM card and internal security threat. We know that in Lal Killa region, this Red Fort region, there was a bomb blast carried out in the month of November 2025, and investigation agencies were continuously investigating the regions and how this entire operation and everything was carried out, handled out, and that is where the role of ghost SIM card has been clearly observed. So ghost SIM card plus also the terrorists who were involved there, they have been using encrypted apps largely to talk with the handlers, and handlers were based in Pakistan. So from Pakistan, the handlers, the people who have organized this entire attack, they are continuously providing input, continuously giving directions to what should be done, how it should be done, which area to be targeted and all that. Plus also we are seeing that Aadhaar, which is National Identity of India, it has been misused. Why it has been misused? By using Aadhaar of some third person, SIM card was obtained, which was used by the terrorists to remain in touch with the handlers in Pakistan here. Now in this regard, Center has given directive to ensure that SIM app linkage mandate should be followed by all the app-based companies, app-based we can say services such. What it means simply that if SIM card is taken out from mobile, that same number associated with the SIM card cannot be used for communication anymore on the messaging services. Like for example, today if you have mobile, if you have WhatsApp linked with a certain mobile number, certain SIM number basically, and if you remove that SIM, still you can use WhatsApp linked with the same number. That would no longer be possible as per the recent mandate of government as such. Now what is a ghost SIM? If you try to identify or define it properly, it is any SIM that is taken by using unverifiable user identity. That means you forge the Aadhaar card. On the Aadhaar card, you put name, photograph and addresses of such person which cannot be verified, which might be completely false as such, wrong as such. And then you are using that as identity proof to take SIM card. Second, in this case, such SIM card whose lawful ownership is absent. No one can be we can say considered as the owner of the particular SIM card, because again false identity or false document has been used to procure the SIM card. And such SIM card which can remain active without physical SIM message, which can be used to communicate on the messaging services. So such SIM card we can call as a ghost SIM. Now how does ghost SIM work? So first of all, in many of the mobile sets that you have dual phone protocol as such. That means you can use two SIM. Second, clean phone that you have that has real identity. Clean phone means such phone where you have registered SIM card that can be associated with the person whose identity can be verified, who has used we can say right documents, correct documents to obtain this card as such. At the same time, host phone are being used for the covert operations, so that tracking and tracing of such phones become extremely challenging and difficult for the law enforcement agencies and such. Second, we can say there is an app SIM decoupling that is being used here. That means the messaging app is being continuously run on the phone, and that particular number which is associated with that messaging app is associated with a particular SIM, but that SIM is not physically present inside the mobile device. So if such kind of system is being used, that means we can say host SIM is being used here. Largely today we know that we have two major popular messaging app. One is WhatsApp, other is Telegram. So both of these platforms are where we have seen the activities being carried out taking help of the ghost SIM. The reason why in India terrorists have been using it, because if they use the physical SIM, if they use the correct documents and all that to obtain SIM, and if they are in communication with the actors across the border, especially from Pakistan occupied Kashmir region, it will trigger alarm, and obviously law enforcement agencies will be able to track and trace them. So to avoid tracking and tracing, they're using host SIM like network. Largely it is obtained by using stolen Aadhaar credentials as such. Now obviously it has raised security risk as far as India is concerned, because first of all, if someone is using host SIM, tracing of subscriber becomes very difficult task as such. Plus these actors can then be involved in encrypted cross-border communication, because you know that WhatsApp, Telegram, they have authorized encrypted transcription, encrypted communication. That means no one else apart from the two people who are exchanging messages can read the messages and can see the messages. And this is being used to have a proper coordination between the terrorist and the terror modules, this we can say organization who are largely behind such kind of attack and all that. Many times white collar cover is being misused here. That means SIM is being taken in the name of those persons who are not high risk in category, who are investigating agencies or police do not or will not think that he might be involved in certain kind of crime as such, because he is a simple person who is living his life in a normal way as such. Overall, the attempt is to evade lawful interception whenever you're talking about such kind of communication using host SIM as such. Plus, it becomes complex also when institutions are engaged in forensic analysis of such kind of this we can say this communication and all that. So overall we can say we have gap as far as the metadata is concerned. So metadata gap basically is because the messaging platforms are not willing to share the metadata related to certain exchanges, messages that has been exchanged between the terror agencies and terror groups and all. Now how government has responded? So first of all, it has stated that now only such kind of messaging app or such kind of messaging services can be used which is linked with the active SIM. That means if you have a certain number with WhatsApp, if you remove the SIM with that number from that particular mobile device, you will no longer be able to use WhatsApp associated with that number. So to use WhatsApp, you have to necessarily insert physical SIM, or you have to change your WhatsApp number if you are removing the SIM or changing the SIM. So to some extent, government is trying to control communication that is being done using the apps, messaging apps such as WhatsApp, Telegram and all that. Third, it also has been decided that the KYC norms will be tightened. KYC norms means know your customer norms. So whenever someone is procuring, buying SIM card, more stringent checking should be done to ensure that correct documents are being used. Forged document, forged signatures, or we can say forged addresses are not being used here. Overall, this entire effort would require a massive reform as far as digital governance is concerned. And here we can say the model of verify then trust can be used here. That means first you have to verify that whether the document being submitted is correct or not, then only you can trust on the documents and can give the services as such. Many times we use the model trust then verify as such. That means first you trust that the person is giving the right document, then you verify in the later stages. That should be overhauled, that should be changed. Rather we should focus on this kind of number, especially this kind of we can say process, especially in the telecommunication sector. And by using this, government also is trying to restore the possibility of tracing the mobile devices, SIM cards and all that as such. Overall, we can say what is the way forward? So obviously we have to ensure stringent and stronger KYC accountability. If someone is giving SIM, some shopkeeper or some companies are giving SIM without properly verifying and checking a document, there should be proper punishment for them, proper penalty for them. Second, audits and penalties for retail outlets who are continuously selling SIM without proper verification. Device binding protocol, we have already discussed. That means only you can use messaging app if physically SIM has been inserted in the device as such. Second, if someone is removing the SIM from device, there should be provision of auto logout, either from WhatsApp or from Telegram. Again, you cannot log in without physically inserting SIM. There should be risk scoring of SIM life cycle. SIM life cycle risk scoring simply means that if a SIM is continuously being transferred from one device to other device in very short period of time, there is a high possibility this SIM is being used for some illegal purposes, for some communication which might threaten the unity, integrity and security of India and all that. So based on the users of SIM, then proper investigation can be done here. Then cross-platform metadata sharing should be done here, and cyber forensic capacity building is urgently required in India so that tracking and tracing of such kind of crimes become easier and can be done effectively at a faster rate as such. So that is all what we can do to ensure the security of India is not threatened by using these loopholes that we have in the telecommunication network or policies or even legislations. And the problem also arises because these companies' messaging apps are not based in India. So many times they do not follow the rules and laws of India as well. Now, if you look at few of the questions, prelims related question that can be asked from the topic. So one was topic we have discussed is wolf supermoon. Which of the following statement regarding the wolf supermoon are correct? The first is wolf moon is a traditional name for the first full moon of January. Second, the supermoon occurs when the moon is at apogee during the full moon phase. And third, the larger appearance of moon during a supermoon is partly due to the moon illusion. So obviously first statement is correct. 2nd January, that is a wolf moon. Third is also correct. Now we try to understand, when we look at the moon, it seems larger during wolf moon. It does not mean that moon itself has become larger. Why it happens? Because of the illusion. If moon is closer to the earth, it looks bigger. If moon is farther from the earth, it seems to us smaller. It does not mean the physically size of moon is changing. So we can say that yes, it is because of illusion. Third, we know it is incorrect because I told you we have two phases of moon, perigee phase, apogee phase. Perigee is when moon is at closest to the earth, and if then full moon occurs also, you would see wolf moon. So rather than apogee, it should be perigee. So correct answer would be 1 and 3. So B should be the right answer here. Second we have is with reference to Popocatépetl volcano. Consider the following statement. It is located in the Trans-Mexican volcanic belt. Correct. It is classified as a shield volcano with low explosivity. That is incorrect. If you remember, we have discussed that Popocatépetl volcano is an example of stratovolcano. Stratovolcano are like this, very tall structures, right? We have steep sloping regions. Seal volcano on the other hand are kind of gently sloping structure like this. So in the Hawaii island, you will find shield volcano because lava moves at very fast rate. If lava is moving at very fast rate, after spreading out, after coming out during eruption, it will spread over a long distance, large distance. So when it is spread over a large distance, what happens? It takes a kind of gentle sloping structure. Here, because lava that is coming out is running at slow rate, so most of lava basically solidified near the volcanic pipe and vent itself, giving it a tall, vertical, steep structure. That is what we call as stratovolcano. So it is not a shield volcano. Popocatépetl volcano is a stratovolcano with high explosivity. That is also one difference you would see. In shield volcano, explosivity is less. Magma lava erupts very silently, kind of fountain-like structure we can say, water-like movement we see here. Very thin lava is coming out. Here you have very thick, sticky, viscous lava. That is why when finally they erupt, they causes extensive damage. They causes the collapse of dome, as we have discussed in the case of the same volcano. So that is the incorrect statement. Third, recent studies show that it contains multiple magma reservoirs at different depth. This also we have discussed that yes, as per the recent 3D modeling that has been carried out here, we can clearly say that there is not a single magma reservoir, magma chamber, but multiple magma reservoir all across the 18 kilometers of depth analysis that we have done here. So again, first and third is the correct option. Then coming to the third question, that is related to the metallurgical coke. We have just discussed that India has put anti-dumping duty on this. So it is produced by the heating coking coal in the absence of air. I told you this is called as the process we have discussed is referred as destructive distillation, heating in the absence of air. That is how coking coal is obtained. Second is it acts both as a fuel and as a reducing agent in the blast furnace. This is also correct. We have discussed that if coking coal is used in the steel industry, in the blast furnace, first, because of calorific value, it can be used as a fuel. Second, it also helps in removing oxygen from the iron oxide, creating pure iron as such. Third, high ash content improves the efficiency of steel production. This is incorrect, because what we are importing? Low ash metallurgical coke. So if our ash content is higher, in that case, efficiency of steel production, the grade of steel that is produced would be of poor quality, low grade. So correct answer would be A, 1 and 2. So this is the some questions that we can look at here. Now coming to the importance of each of the topic. So first is Popocatépetl volcano. Very, very important, both from prelims plus mains perspective. Many time in prelims, physical feature like question and their mapping based question is asked. So question can easily be given. On one side, you will have match the following, where the name of volcanoes can be given. Other side, which areas are they located in. So Popocatépetl volcano located in the Mexico region because of the subduction between Cocos and North American plate. Question can also be asked in mains examination, where you can use this as an example of volcano, recent eruption of volcano. Wolf supermoon, again important, especially from prelims perspective, because basic astronomy you have to study, where you have to talk about Milky Way, solar system, universe, solar, the sun, moon and all that. So based on lunar phases, changes, what is wolf moon, what is blood moon, these terms keep coming in use. What is, we talk about the full moon, new moon and all that can be asked. Third is ghost SIM card. Direct questions will not be asked from here obviously, but because in GS3, in internal security, one of the topic is terrorism, and you have to explain there what is the way how terrorists are able, or what are the ways how terrorists are able to infiltrate across the borders of India, how they're able to carry out their actions and all that. There you can use that due to the recent surge in use of mobile phones, messaging apps and all that, and the availability of ghost SIM card, such kind of communication can no longer be traced, which is being used by the terror groups to handle their persons in India from across the border. So this can be used an example as such. Coking coal, again very important, because we have to study about mineral resources in geography, and in mineral resources, coal is one of the major minerals which is vital for the steel industry. So types of coal can be asked, and earlier also in UPSC has asked questions from this particular topic in the previous year prelims about metallurgical coke, about the ash content of the coal. Like for example, one question was there where they said that majority of coal in India has high ash content and sulfur content. So correct statement. Plus users resource distribution based question can be asked, where coal is found in India. So from mineral resources you can cover it. Places news, again important from mapping perspective. Again you will not have question in mains examination, but because these areas keep coming in news, question mapping based questions can be asked, where Colombia is located, okay, or what are the bordering states of bordering regions of Cuba as such, what are the bordering regions of Venezuela and such. So that is how we can basically we can say this prepare for these particular topics. That's all for this week. Thank you.